You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. This episode is brought to you by Peach State Payments. Ethical processing, more profit, less stress. Chiro HD, more than an EHR. Projects management simplified. The Chiro Speaking Company. Attract, educate, and convert. Chiro Spring, cloud-based, user-friendly software with all the essential features chiropractors need. Rudman Relight. The IFCO. Chiro Moguls. Chiro Health USA. Sherman College of Chiropractic. Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, and Life West College of Chiropractic. Let's hustle. This episode of Chiro Hustle is brought to you by Relight Hydration by Redmond. Here's the truth. Most Americans are walking around dehydrated, low energy, brain fog, muscle cramps, afternoon crashes, and many people think they just need more coffee, when they actually need more electrolytes. Because hydration isn't just about drinking more water, it's about the minerals. Your body relies on electrolytes like sodium, potassium, and trace minerals to help your cells actually absorb and use the water you drink. Without those minerals, water alone doesn't do the job. That's where Relight Hydration comes in. Relight is built around Rudman Real Salt, a natural, mineral-rich salt harvested from an ancient seabed in Utah. It provides the foundational sodium your body needs for proper hydration, along with balanced electrolytes to support energy, muscle function, and daily performance. No artificial dyes, no unnecessary fillers, just clean electrolytes built around real mineral salt. Because at Redmond, we believe the secret's in the salt. If you're new to Relight, start with their sample pack so you can try multiple flavors and find your favorite. Once hydration becomes part of your daily rhythm, you'll feel the difference. And chiropractors understand this well. The nervous system runs on electrical signals, and electrolytes help support that communication throughout the body. If you're tired of hitting the wall mid-afternoon, it might not be more caffeine you need. It might just be better hydration. Go to chirohustle.com and get 25% off of Relight with their exclusive promo. Hydrate smarter, move better, stay aligned.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 760 of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. I'm your producer, Luke Millette, and here's your host, James Chester.
So today we had the opportunity of interviewing Dr. Michael Lee. And if you want to hear our conversation about how to build a preferred provider network and networking within the larger medical arena, stay tuned for the full episode. Welcome back. This is another episode of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. Today I have Dr. Michael Lee on. I'm really excited. He's been on a couple years ago. Been in practice 3.5 years. Really doing great. And this is episode 760. The things we're going to discuss on today's episode are building a preferred provider network. I'll let him tell you all about that and how to network in the larger medical arena. We're also going to talk about the pros and cons to coaching. I think this is going to be a really important thing for all chiropractors to listen to. And I was a speaker at the Data Driven Practice in Las Vegas 2 months ago now. Wow, it seems like it was just yesterday. And Dr. Lee was awarded a couple of awards out there, and we'll talk about that. And he has a program that he is really excited about called the Disc RX Rehab Program. But before we get into these topics, I want to let you know our big why. Why do we do what we do over here at Chiro Hustle? Well, first things first is freedom of speech. This platform exists solely because I believe chiropractic needed a voice and a platform for chiropractic knowledge and freedom of information to be out there for the providers to be acknowledged and heard, and for the people that are interested in chiropractic to find a non-watered down resource of chiropractic truth. We also believe in medical freedom and family health freedom. They're not the same things, but if you're looking for those resources, find a chiropractor in your neck of the woods. Speaking about more philosophical resonance, we believe in protecting the sacred trust. It's BJ Palmer's last written words. If you don't know who BJ Palmer is, go to the show notes. If you don't know what the sacred trust is, click on that link. You're going to learn more about the chiropractic profession than you did previously. I guarantee you. We also support subluxation-based chiropractic. I know we shouldn't have to say this, but they're taking the philosophy and the languaging and the lexicon out of the chiropractic education model. So if you know chiropractors out there that are in school, chiropractic students, new grads that need chiropractic truth, share the Chiro Hustle podcast with them. Just please share the show. Go to chirohustle.com, pick 1 to 2 episodes, listen to them, share them with that impressionable mind that needs chiropractic truth so they can go out there and adjust subluxations. We also believe in innate intelligence, universal intelligence, and the educated intelligence. We believe that when man or woman, the physical gets adjusted, it connects them to man or woman, the spiritual. With that being said, that creates the educated intelligence. And that's a beautiful thing. This is episode 760 of the Chiro Hustle podcast. Dr. Michael, welcome to the show.
James, thank you so much for having me. What an introduction. And I just wanted to say thank you to you. I mean, as we talked about before we went live, you are such an advocate for chiropractic. And I wish that there were more chiropractors that advocated for chiropractic half as much as you do, and all the work that you've done has been awesome. I been listening to the Chiro Hustle podcast since I was in school. We've got the pleasure to meet face to face, and you are the real deal. So I just wanted to say thank you for all you've done for the profession.
Well, I try not to be too punny, but I threw the profession on my back.
Indeed.
And
Indeed
I think we should have fun with it, though, right? We should have fun with what we do for our time and what we do for our value that we create in this world. And I just always believed that there was a better world when people were adjusted. I just felt that people's lives were better when they were under chiropractic care. If we want to talk about vitalism, I've never met anybody that had more pills, potions, and lotions or drugs and surgery that had more vitality. And I always noticed that when people were getting adjusted regularly and they were under chiropractic care, they had more vitality. And that's really what it's all about. It's like, you don't have to believe in what we do. You don't have to believe what chiropractors do. But if you want to have more vitality, you should probably go see a chiropractor.
Yeah. What's interesting about that is that I was looking before I started chiropractic school, I understood that there was this barrier within chiropractic, right? A lot of times it's not covered by insurance, and we treat insurance like it's a bad word. And the money thing, even before I started chiropractic school, I knew that was a problem. And so I started to dig in and study, and found that a lot of these Scandinavian countries, particularly like Norway, have adopted chiropractic care as the national healthcare model. And national healthcare has pros and cons. We're not talking politics, right? But what I found is I had one of my mentor's sons practiced chiropractic in Norway. And in Norway, they found that citizens under chiropractic care missed less time off work, had less surgeries, took less drugs, and were less of a strain on the overall medical system. And so the country, the government adopted that. And so at that point in time, everybody in Norway had a government issued chiropractic credit card, and the government paid for your chiropractic visits. It was like $50 a visit, right? And the whole country was getting adjusted, and there was no barrier because the government was paying for it. And so you would just go, you'd get adjusted. And my mentor's son was like, this is amazing. I have no shortage of patients. I don't have to talk about money. Everybody's getting adjusted. And he said, this is like a little slice of heaven. And so I've always dreamt about what it would be like to live in a country like that, where it's so widely accepted.
You got me wanting to go visit Norway.
Let's do it.
I'm actually going on a little European tour at the end of April and 26th, and the first 10 days of May. I'm going to go speak at a college in London. I'm going to go speak at a college in Barcelona, one in Madrid, and to 2 chiropractic student groups, one in Toulouse, France, and one in Paris. And I think, as I'm rounding out that tour, I was wanting to go hike in Norway just out of the blue. A friend of mine went and did some hiking in the fjords over in Norway, and it really inspired me. So I was looking at what he was up to, and I'm like, how can I fit Norway into this? But yeah, like if you could go in and get port of entry, as we call it. If you could be a port of entry doc and it's chiropractic, you could think like our GDP of healthy people would skyrocket in America.
Go way up.
But I say this over and over. It's right here on a little note card here. There's no money in healthy people for America and for the American politics and for the American sick care system. There's the only way that healthy people are of quality is not using it. And I've said this time and time again, chiropractic is not a healthcare system. It's chiropractic. The other people pretend that they're playing healthcare, but they're not. They're actually playing sick care. And chiropractic is a standalone profession. And I know that that's something we're going to talk to you about, building preferred provider networks, but you're in that arena and you're out there networking in the larger medical world. And what is your approach to that? And how do you see that interacting with the chiropractic that you provide?
Well, it's a multifactorial question. What I found is that, in chiropractic, we have this philosophy, right? And we have this lexicon, this vocabulary that the medical profession doesn't understand, right? Like I was just talking with a surgeon. We went and we had dinner, and his office, he's a neurospine surgeon, right? And one of my patients is going to see him. He, unfortunately, matter has limitations, right? Principle number 24, matter has limitations. And so anyways, we were having dinner and we just started talking about the vocabulary. And he said, yeah, man, like chiropractors just say weird stuff. And I said, well, what do you mean? And he said, like, take that, what's that S word you guys say? And of course I know what he's going to say. He's going to say subluxation. And I said, so tell me what you know about that. And he said, well, in our training in medical school, a subluxation is literally a dislocation of a joint, right? Where the soft tissues are torn, the cartilage is ripped, the ligaments are ripped, the tendons are torn. And he said, and chiropractors talk about this subluxation like it's some mythical thing. And as I started to explain the neurophysiology of what a subluxation is, I said, so is your problem with this neurophysiological event that happens when the juxtaposition of two vertebrae are not in proper alignment? Or is your issue with the word itself? And he said, no, the neurophysiology of what you're saying makes complete sense. Just call it something else, because in medical school, we're trained a subluxation needs a surgical reduction. And so as we started to dive in, chiropractors don't communicate well with the medical profession because we have this chip on our shoulders that we're better than they are. And like at the end of the day, we're both doctors and they want the best for their patients and we want the best for our patients. And when there's an overlap, like they just want to have communication of this is what we're doing. This is our treatment plan. These are some objective findings. This is our goal. And he said, I have a big problem with chiropractors just like, yeah, you come in once a week for the rest of your life. He's like, that's really not like that doesn't exist in their world. And so once we could kind of put our egos and our differences aside, it was really kind of an enriching experience to sit down and talk with him. So like when I'm networking and talking with other doctors, I use their lexicon. So we're speaking the same language. I just have to put my philosophical construct aside. Like as an example, within spinal decompression, right? We talk about a minimum effective dose. What's the minimum amount of treatment, the dose, that is going to be effective at helping this person achieve better health? So it's like when you use terminology like a minimum effective dose, we're speaking their language, as opposed to some of the philosophical things that we say, they don't have the time to learn our philosophy. And so part of how I communicate with my community, with the medical doctors, is to speak their language and get to a point where we have some common ground.
I think it's important, some of the things you shared there, but maybe next time you say, hey, chiropractors are wizards. We adjust the spine and we put it back to where it's supposed to go, and people will get better faster. Let's do business. And I don't think you're wrong. I don't think he's wrong. I just think that the judgment zone of, I don't like your word and you should use my word. I understand that too. Like it's easier when we have similarities and we're talking about things. But I also think that when you're dealing with a larger medical scope, that they don't understand anything about chiropractic.
Correct.
And you should, in my opinion, I'd be like, hey, why don't you come get adjusted? Let me show you what it's all about. Let me show you what life's like. Let me show you what life's like when you're not subluxated.
Yeah, right.
And then you'll appreciate the word a little bit.
Yeah, it's and like in school, we were talking about in one particular adjusting class, we were talking about a spondylolisthesis, right? And this particular move, in at least in our school, right, the patient is supine. You bring the patient's knees to the chest. You wrap your arms around the patient's knees and grab like the posterior aspect of the patient, and you pull up right on it. So you make a P to A move where you're pulling up on it to reduce the spondylolisthesis. And I was talking with one of my patients who sells, funny enough, this guy, his dad was a chiropractor. He did not get into chiropractic. He was actually selling hardware for spine surgeries. Crazy, right? Dad's a chiropractor. He's selling hardware for spine surgeries, and he's in a surgery, and the doctor is talking about a spondylolisthesis. And he says the fact that chiropractors think that they can reduce the spondylolisthesis with an adjustment to the spine is out of control. So it's interesting. Like, we want to communicate and we want to be able to share patients and do business back and forth. Like, we got to have some commonality there.
Well, if you want to get the top of the research, I was just down at the CBP annual.
Hey, buddy. Hey, I'm talking to my friend James.
What's up, buddy?
Archer,
are you gonna join the interview now, Archer?
Can you say hi?
Hi, James.
Hey, we're talking
I like your hat, buddy.
We're talking about chiropractic.
Oh,
Can you tell James, when we take medicine, does that make us sick or healthy?
sick.
When Daddy adjusts your spine, does that make you sick or healthy?
Healthy.
Healthy. Talk
You're
about
cool, Archer.
Yeah. Yep.
How old are you, Archer?
How old are you, buddy?
This
Here,
many?
let me take off my headphones. How old are you?
Are you this many?
Are you 4?
4.
You're 4? Wow.
4.
I'm going to answer some more questions from my friend James.
When was your last adjustment, Archer?
You know.
Let's see. Your last adjustment was Friday.
Friday.
Where does Daddy make an adjustment on your spine?
Back.
Oh, yeah. Yep. And do you check Daddy's spine sometimes too?
This is humidifier.
That's the humidifier. That's right.
Just
So yeah, like just being able to share, some things back and forth with him just was really enriching.
Yeah, I was just going to mention though the part that I wanted to share was a guy named Curtis Fedorchak. He's a chiropractor down in Atlanta. Look, the whole family's coming on.
Oh.
excuse me, this is Rosie.
Should we say hi to James?
Hey,
Hey,
Dad,
kiddos.
this is Rosie.
Hey, Rosie.
Hey, Rosie.
I'm 12. Hi.
Was her last adjustment on Friday too? Where does Daddy adjust Rosie's spine?
back.
Oh, yes. Okay, guys, it's bedtime for you.
No, I want to watch something. Hey, Dad, I want to watch something.
Okay, well, I'm going to finish talking to my friend James. Okay? I love you, buddy.
Bye, James.
Bye, Archer. See you soon, buddy.
Yep.
Bye.
Take your fire hat.
Bye, Daddy.
Good night, guys.
Bye, Rosie.
Bye, Rosie.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, James.
Thanks, guys.
How cute. But he did studies and has corrected 50 spondies, and he has research behind it. He's with the CBP group.
Oh, cool.
Occurs for door check. So I can get that research paper for you, but it's very eye-opening for me. I was at the CBP annual down in Tucson about 4 months ago, and everybody non-surgical approaches to fixing spondies. Most people say it's crazy, but Curtis has done 50 of these, and people are flying from all around the world now to get the spondylolisthesis fixed by Curtis Fedorchak. So we only know what we know, right?
Right. And that's the problem with chiropractic, right? Is we don't have a megaphone big enough to I think it's a two-part problem, right? We don't have a megaphone big enough, right? And we can't put our differences aside because we've been just belittled for 125 years. We can't put our ego aside enough to sit down with the spine surgeon down the street and say hey, we have a common goal. How do we work together to co-manage this case, right?
Yeah. I have another show called Get Better Faster. And the major premise of the show is how do we get people better faster?
Sure.
And we take subject matter experts on. I'd actually be interested in interviewing the spinal surgeon guy because we talk about how we get people better faster. And we have a very philosophical stance of chiropractic where a lot of people don't understand chiropractic. Breathwork specialists, healthy birth people, cleaning up our water, cleaning up our air, people that are doing different work in the world that don't understand anything about chiropractic. So a lot of the principles that these people are following, we can then have a conversation with them about the philosophy of chiropractic and start to weave them into understanding universal intelligence and the big idea and things like that. But as you're sharing that with me, we only know what we know. And if we don't know, we're going to have our beliefs. If you didn't believe that a guy could hit 60 home runs and still 30 bases or 40 bases and be a pitcher, you would have never known what Shohei Ohtani could do.
Right.
But he broke the mold and showed people what's possible, that he can pitch in World Series games and hit record home runs in a World Series and steal bases. Nobody thought that was possible before. So I think the game's always getting rewritten, and the history books will always be rewritten. And I think you are right, though. We need to get common ground and realize that all providers want one thing. Even if they only work from one toolkit, they want to get people better. And no one goes in there maliciously and says, I'm going to give this guy a surgery and hopefully his life doesn't have more vitalism after this.
Right.
I think they go into the game hoping that when they do that type of procedure, that they're actually going to create more vitalism for the end outcomes. So it is cool that you figured out how to go network with people and get the big idea into more people, and and facilitate more help with the people that need it the most, is those that are injured.
Yeah. And the other thing is that's frustrating about our profession, right, is that we don't communicate with ourselves, right? My preferred provider network, 2 of my biggest referral sources are chiropractors, right? One is literally 2 buildings north of me, and the other is 3 buildings north of me. And we share patients back and forth. And I just yesterday, I consulted with a patient. They're under chiropractic care with a wonderful, wonderful doctor who takes care of my kids, right? I pay for chiropractic care. I adjust my kids at home, but I practice what I preach. I pay for chiropractic care. I take my kids they go get adjusted. And I said, hey, like we can do spinal decompression for you, but your chiropractor, they're adjusting your spine. I'm not going to change that. Now we can do upper cervical care if you want, but they're already doing a great job adjusting your spine. And chiropractors just have this scarcity mindset. I mean, we see 7% of the population. Like in my market in Indianapolis, there's 1 million people in the greater metro, 1 million people, 7%. And we're a very medical town like Lilly, which is a big pharmaceutical companies here. We got a bazillion spine surgeons. Like we're a very medical town. But like no chiropractor is like, there's no shortage of patients. And I wish that more chiropractors would be able to co-care and share patients back and forth for the betterment of the patient.
You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. This episode is brought to you by Peach State Payments, ethical processing, more profit, less stress. Chiro HD, more than an EHR, practice management simplified. The Chiro Speaking Company, attract, educate, and convert. Chiro Spring, cloud-based, user-friendly software with all the essential features chiropractors need. Redmond Relight, the IFCO, Chiro Moguls, Chiro Health USA, Sherman College of Chiropractic, Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, and Life West College of Chiropractic. Let's hustle. Hey docs, let me ask you something. Are you adjusting patients but not adjusting your revenue? Because a lot of chiropractors are still undercharging without even realizing it. They're accepting insurance allowances that are just too low, and they're hesitant to raise the fees because they're worried about pushback from patients. The problem is, when your fees and financial systems aren't aligned, it creates a slow leak in your practice. And when you try to grow, more marketing, more patients, maybe even another location, the leak gets bigger. There's actually a smarter way to handle this. Chiro Health USA helps chiropractors charge appropriately when insurance is available while still serving cash or limited benefit patients through a compliant discount medical plan. The results? Many practices see revenue increases around 15 to 20% without adding more visits. Same patients, better margins, more freedom. If you want to stop leaving money on the table and build a practice that's both profitable and compliant, check out chirohealthusa.com to learn more. Well, I mean, there's a bigger scope to this. And I really believe that if chiropractic commercials were $150 a day during programming of television, the same way that the medical mafia represents their slant, like Lilly. If we had 150 program commercials on chiropractic, they'd be picking chiropractic, bro.
Like, correct.
the God on the screen would tell them, go see the chiropractor.
Correct. Yeah, I just had a patient yesterday. Yesterday, that they were like, yeah, I've done research on this, and there's no double blind clinical controlled trials. Why is that? And I'm like, well, if you go down the street to Lilly, their annual revenue is multi-billion dollars, which means that they spend hundreds of millions of dollars per year, double blind clinical controlled trial. And I said, in my industry, like in chiropractic, if you do $1 million a year, you're crushing it. Like you're in the top percent. We just don't have the money.
Yeah. I mean, if I was in charge of marketing for a chiropractic profession and I was given $1 billion
over,
like we would be the best product in the world and everybody would know about us. And eventually we'd have the greatest market share out of any healing art in the world. But it's right. It's a funding thing, and it's a semantics thing, and it's a languaging thing. And I think there's a lot of stuff we're discussing here that we can do better with, but also the number one person out there is the people we take care of. So we have to do better based on them, whether we have $1 or whether we have $1 million.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So I think we set the money aside and we have to think about the outcome that we're looking for. And we want your kids to be healthy, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And we want that patient that's fearful of a knife to maybe not have to have the knife and get adjusted and have better outcomes. So I think what you're saying and what your colleagues are approaching it with, like, yeah, we just need to do a better job of, since day one, I've been in the profession for 17 years. We need to do a better job of educating people with what chiropractic really does. And they don't need to know who Dee Dee Palmer is. They don't need to know who Herbert Ross Reaver is. They don't need to know who Harvey Lillard is, but they need to know that when they get adjusted, it's a better outcome for life. And maybe we should get the Norway studies and put that in front of people.
We should.
And say, hey, this is a conversation I want to have. I want to show you what happens when we make chiropractic number one is in a culture. What happens to that? What happens to those people? This is our test market. And I think that there's a lot of wisdom in that. And I appreciate you for sharing that with me too.
Yeah. I mean, just this morning in one of my coaching calls with the data-driven practice, we were talking about the juxtaposition, right? The contrarian model between chiropractic and medicine, particularly in what I do with spinal decompression, of like, just, we've all seen those pictures, right? Of, chiropractic students have 4,600 hours of credits, right, that we take of anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, blah, blah, blah. And medical doctors only have like 4,200. So like pure didactic tit for tat, like we have more, hours than a medical doctor does. Like same thing, like I create like, okay, there's some hard upfront costs for chiropractic care and the type of treatment that I do. There's some hard upfront costs for the spine surgery that you're contemplating having. The spine surgery is 10 times more expensive, but insurance is going to cover it. But you still have to pay your out-of-pocket deductible, blah, blah, blah. That's probably comparable to my treatment plan. What you're not thinking about is that 72% of people that have a spine fusion need a second one. So now those costs double, and now those costs triple. Like,
and your vitality is sank,
right? And so I think if we like juxtapositioned the hard costs, but also the soft costs of not getting adjusted and not under chiropractic care, you're going to spend a lot more money in the long haul on your sickness than you are on your health.
And I tell people this all the time, because, I've done so many community outreach events. Chiropractors call them spinal screenings. I call them scheduling events, whatever you want to call them. But I tell people all the time is you're going to either pay for your health now or sickness later. And it's just the truth. And when you get an insurance policy, it's not maybe coming out of your pocket, but it's coming out of all of our pockets. And that's the problem that we're seeing right now with the way that the medical market is a few dollars to go get a regular adjustment with a chiropractor really helps. And it's not my burden of proof, but if you're in a mess and you're contemplating surgery or spinal decompression, you might want to try the least invasive first. There's just my advice.
Correct.
Well, you're talking about coaching earlier. I know it's one of the topics you want to discuss, the pros and cons of coaching. What's your viewpoint on the pros and cons of coaching?
Oh boy, I have. So in the last 3.5 years, I'm not going to name names, but I've lost 6 figures. I estimated it to be about $150,000 of real, not perceived, real dollars that I've thrown into the wind because I followed a coach and they said they were the expert and they were not the expert. And conversely, I've made 6 figures because of I had a good coach and I did exactly what they told me to do. And a lot of times people in chiropractic are like, well, I'm too smart. I don't need a coach. And I was really challenged in my earlier time in chiropractic because I'm like, wait a minute. I'm from Indiana. Peyton Manning is like second to Jesus here in Indiana. Peyton Manning had a quarterback's coach. Tom Brady had a quarterback's coach. Tiger Woods had a golf coach. Like Michael Jordan had a coach. So you have all these athletes, like super high level athletes that are at the top of their game. They all had coaches, right? And it's like, you don't have to have a coach to be successful, but gosh darn it, that coach, I mean, if you have the right one, has, at least what I found, they have spent the money to make mistakes. They have had the pain of making the mistakes. Hiring a coach is like a cheat code. I mean, my current coach right now, Dr. Corey Frogley with the Data Driven Practice, I mean, very early on, right, he said, hey, if we're going to do this, let's do it. I said, okay, like I'm in this position because I haven't been doing things right. I'm going to do exactly what you say. I'm going to sleep on it and pray about it. And he said, hey, I want you to just tweak this one thing that you do, this one thing. And I tweaked it and it was like, boom, immediate. And so I would text him like, hey, I made this tweak and this directly correlated with the revenue that I made. And I did that for like a month. Like anytime I did what he told me to do with that little tweak and I made whatever I made with that, I would send him a message of like, hey, just so you know, I made this because of what you said. And I lost track of the impact that it was making in my business because of that one little tweak. So having a good coach can literally mean the difference between closing or scaling. And small businesses, like the margin for error is, I mean, I'm 3.5 years in, like the margin for error is small. And just because you have a coach, right? Like I've had coaches before and I was like, oh, I got to do exactly what they say, right? Don't question it at all. And it's like, well, who's paying who here, right? Like I'm paying you to give me advice. I don't have to follow it, but I'm paying you. And for a while, like some coaches that are with, they were bullying me to do what they wanted me to do. It's like, wait a minute, it's my business. My name's on the door. I'm the one signing the checks. I don't have to do everything you say.
Well, I think what you're saying there, it's a difference between going pro and making it into the Hall of Fame. And
fair.
The guys that go pro, they have the ability to make it. And becoming a doctor is going pro.
Yeah.
And that proves that you have the ability to make it. But the ones that make the Hall of Fame, a lot of their careers are based on their coaches. And they have the raw talent, but also if you can't hit a fastball or a curveball, you don't make it to the Hall of Fame. Yeah. So you need to practice and have good coaching in order, whether it's mindset, whether it's relationships, whatever it might be, you need to have somebody help you become who you know you are, but also be able to excel once you hit that point. So yeah, Dr. Corey's a great example of how he can take somebody and give them that one little, as you call it, a tweak, and get them to start performing better. And I saw a lot of people like that in Las Vegas at the convention. So kudos to you, kudos to Corey and everybody else that he's helping. And I wanted to also make sure that we talked about the awards that you got out in Las Vegas. I know you got, was it 2 awards?
2, yeah. Yeah, it was a real humbling experience, right? Because it's like, as an athlete, you know that you could win a state title, right? Like I coached wrestling for 2 years in St. Louis, and I'm really involved in the sport. Like, you could win a state title, but you haven't. And you feel like, if I could just change this thing, like I could do better. And I see other people doing better. It's like, if they can do it, why can't I do it? And I trusted Corey so much that I said, all right, I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in coaching. Some of it was good, some of it wasn't. Like, I want to go to the next level, right? Like I want to make the Pro Bowl. I just don't want to be on the team. And I started to implement what he said. And it was like, one award was the Driven Doc Award. I mean, he flew from Utah to Indianapolis, and he came and he brought his camera crew and we did an interview, like a long form interview with my business partner and I, who's my wife, and came to our house and he held my kids, and it was so humbling to me that somebody of his caliber saw the steps of implementation that we were taking and was like, hey, of the whole data-driven community, of the hundreds of people that are in this group and the years that it's been around, you two are in the top 2 for this year of the implementers. So we got to go up on stage, and he got to, there was a really nice video package that they did for us, and we got a really nice award. And I was really humbled by that, because I've never been acknowledged in a public setting like that. So
that's cool. Yeah, I was there to see that. It was pretty nice.
Yeah. And the other award was the 1X award. So that's if you have a 7-figure practice, and the trajectory of our practice from where I started with Corey to where we were at. I mean, we literally, James, tripled our practice in 6 months with Corey. And it's just like nothing big operationally changed. Like, I didn't buy another piece of equipment. I didn't hire another staff. Like, nothing operationally changed besides implementing the systems and implementing, again, just tweaking. He was like, hey, you got a great base here. Like, you're already far surpassing many chiropractors, many practices. Let's just tweak. Let's just fine tune, rework your game. And I mean, we were able to triple in 6 months.
Well, the truth of all of that is, it's not how much money you make. You can finish the sentence for me.
It's how much you keep.
Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, that was one of the things that we were talking about off camera, right? Of the mantra is oh, you got to spend it to make it. And just he who has the most overhead wins. Right. And January of this year happened, and my business partner and I what the heck? How did our practice become this monster with this overhead that was insane? Right. And starting to coach with Corey, he's like, all right, we're going to pare this. We're going to trim the fat. We're going to pare this way down. And our revenue initially went down, but it was a really nice reset. I mean, there's some hard costs, right? Rent, equipment, right? I mean, there's some hard and fast, your EHR costs that can't change, but realizing just because you spend more doesn't mean that you're going to generate more revenue. So he helped us reset, dial things back down, and then we've been able to ramp up. So now we're keeping more, and crazy enough, we have a savings account, and we can put money aside, as opposed to before when you're just treading water, as fast as it comes in, it goes out. That's the benefit of having a coach.
Really cool to hear that success, man. Congratulations on the awards, and hopefully continued success for you. I know you wanted to also talk about your Disc RX rehab program, and then we'll say goodnight to each other, and I'll send you back to being super dad.
Yeah, I mean the Disc RX program. So again, like I invested in coaching, right? Like so, Rehab Fix was a coaching program that one of my friends that I went to chiropractic school with just started on Instagram. Like he was just pushing like, hey, here's like free resources for people that are dealing with spine pain. And we all made fun of him in school. We're like, dude, you're acting like a physical therapist, and like we need to be adjusting patients. He was like, well, yeah, we can adjust people, but like we also need to educate and equip patients to like do things outside of getting adjusted to help them heal over the long term. So probably 6 or 7 years goes by. He blows Rehab Fix up like it's a multi-million-dollar practice. He's completely online, like teaching people how to do rehab at home. And I just felt like I hit a ceiling, right? Because I'd have so many patients that come in and they're like, yeah, man, like I love the in-office treatment. I love the decompression. Like I love getting adjusted. But what do I do outside of your office? And like in chiropractic, right, we're taught like, well, that's physical therapy. Go to your physical therapist. And I found that so many of my patients, right, disc patients, bulging, herniated, degenerative discs, they'd already been to the physical therapist. And the physical therapist that was giving them rehab, here's a piece of paper, go home, do these exercises, no guidance. The same therapist that were giving that to them was the same therapist that was doing rehab on some 80-year-old lady who just had a knee replacement, right? And that physical therapist isn't specialized. And so I reached out to them like, hey, man, like, how do I incorporate some rehab for my patients? Because they're asking about it. And I felt like I let them down. Like people would invest with me like a significant amount of money, and they were asking me questions about their spine and I couldn't answer it. And so anyways, I like reached out to them and they like, hey, we got this business coaching program. Like we can help build you out a customized spine rehab program given the symptoms of the patient. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. And so through that, I was able to develop with their help, the Disc RX program, which is a standalone spine rehab program that I can educate patients on how they can rehab at home, because the adjustment is the most powerful thing in our tool belt. But some people need a little bit more.
Well, in marketing, I call this the give them what they want, sell them what they need method. Is back to our original comments about networking in the medical arena, is give them what they want, sell them what they need.
Yeah.
And they don't want to have confusion of language.
Right.
But they want their patients to get better. And if we can go least invasive with that, that's better. And
that's better.
And I think you're onto something with giving people a free educational resource so they can make their own informed decisions. Yeah. Maybe we need to do the same program for referral partners and an educational resource to understand the power of what chiropractic has to offer and the different modalities that you practice specifically, to teach people why they should be referring people to you before they go down the other path with them, which might make them look like the good guy in the long run when people have less reoccurrence of damaged reoccurrence of surgery and stuff. So I just think that there's a lot there, man. And just want to commend you for working hard and figuring things out and growing into a leader and doing what's necessary to make it.
Trying. It's, there's people, success leaves clues. And I learned early on in my chiropractic journey that I need to set my ego aside and ask for help, because I could be the best doctor in the world, but if I don't have a business and I close my doors, then I'm not helping anybody.
Well, the only place that I heard this said on a stage recently, but they said the only place that success comes before work is in the dictionary.
Is in the dictionary. Yep.
With that, Dr. Michael, I appreciate you being on with me tonight. Episode 760 of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. Just keep on charging out there. Keep doing a good job. And I'll let you go back to taking care of the business partner and the kiddos.
For sure. Well, thanks for letting me be on. And I appreciate that. I'm glad we got to reconnect after the first time I was on a couple years ago.
Yeah, it's always fun doing this because more people need to know what chiropractic is, and they're not going to get it the right way from anybody else. Because I feel like we really produce quality content over here, and anytime things go off course, we start correcting them. So I just appreciate you sharing so openly, and it was really cool to have the kids on the show too. Yeah,
for sure, man. Thanks.
All right. Well, I'll close out like I always do. I tell everybody, you guys are just one story away. Keep hustling. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye for now. Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.